Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me for 7 at 7. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. Thanks for joining Hope City for tonight or whenever you're joining us and from wherever you're joining us. So thankful for you. Today my husband and I were visiting some family, so we didn't get to go to church, but I did get to watch the live stream today and thought that was a really good message that Pastor John had, and there were some thoughts I had about some of that. For one thing, he was talking about how, kind of like how the world's view of pride and humility is skewed. And anything that God does, the enemy always wants to pervert that. Just for instance, like if somebody can sing, okay, instead of ending up singing praises to God, it turns out to be all about them. Or if somebody is an entrepreneur, they have an entrepreneurial spirit, a lot of times they'll get caught up in being busy, the busyness of things, and just doing, rather than growing, whatever business they've started or whatever. And so there's lots of ways. Basically, when God's given us gifts and God's given us things, the enemy always tries to pervert it. So anything God does, his view of humility and pride, the enemy's always going to try to pervert that. And I feel like he has perverted that and skew our opinion, our vision, our definitions of all of those things. Because as Pastor John shared, he said, humility out of the dictionary is a low opinion about yourself. And to me, that dictionary definition almost sounds like we're supposed to just have low self-esteem or self-loathing or whatever. And that's not at all the case. That's not what humility looks like. I truly do not believe in the eyes of God, because God has a high opinion of us. If he didn't have a high opinion of us, he would never have sent Jesus to die for us. Clearly, he thinks so much of us. I just think maybe where pride comes in, and this is only one area, but where pride comes in is just that we start thinking that we know more than God. And that actually comes in many forms. And Pastor John talked about this morning how that can look like self-centeredness. And like sometimes that we know it all, and we all know somebody that is kind of a know-it-all. They think they know everything or whatever. But for me, that kind of came out in like a self-loathing for me for a good long while. And I was basically, what it was is I was constantly thinking about myself. So I was being very self-centered. I was, beating myself up over things that I messed up, big or small. And it was just a lot of, woe is me type of thinking. But when we're self-centered, we're not Christ-centered. We can't be both. And it was all me, how bad I am, look how awful I am, oh, I'm never going to be good enough, whatever. And I was not Christ-centered at all. And, the world kind of says, well, how can that possibly be pride? People, you didn't think good of yourself, whatever. And I'm not saying it was just pride. There was a lot of other factors in there, but, that's one facet of pride. And also in what John was talking about in Proverbs, how it says pride comes for destruction. Pride brings strife and anger and bitterness, and it brings dishonor and shame. And so when I was thinking all of these things, I was giving in to those thoughts from the enemy about how awful I was. And that's, in a sense, acting like I knew more than what God knew, because God says clearly in his word that he has a plan for each and every one of us. He has things for all of us to do, that he loves each and every one of us, that he doesn't will that any of us should not be in heaven, and all of those things. And even as far as like discounting things, like when I mess things up, it was like saying that I God wasn't big enough to fix it. Or that even maybe I just saw it as messing up. Maybe that's really how things were supposed to go, type of thing. So, that's why it's so important for all of us, anybody and everybody, to really and truly find out what God thinks about us and who we are in him. Because if we find out all of those things about what he thinks about us and who we are in him, our pride and balanced humility is going to be perfectly in balance, because we're going to have a healthy outlook on ourselves and on other people, and a healthy outlook on, how much God knows and how much we know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on today. I hope on today's sermon, I hope that this has helped you guys in some way. And, I don't want any of you, if you're suffering from, fighting through depression or thoughts of self-loathing or anything like that, when I first heard things like that sounded like pride, it really kind of, it hurt, because I thought, I'm not prideful. How could I even be prideful? I think I'm horrible. But please remember that it's not pride in the way the world thinks it is. Nobody's calling you a know-it-all. I just want you to see that you really need to think about how much God loves you, and dig into his word and talk to him about those things, about how much he loves you, and what kind of plans he has for your life. Because he really does love you, and he really does have awesome plans for you. And he just wants you to be right in the middle of those, and to be a healthy person, so you can, live an awesome life and help others to do the same. So anyway, I hope this has helped you. You guys have a great evening, afternoon, morning, whatever. Love y'all. Bye-bye.